Alright, welcome back. We've got an unboxing today, which is why you don't see it yet. But this is it. You might be able to tell from the red tape that this is picked up by our friends at Bass Pro / Cabela's, because they are now one massive company. And then there. This I got courtesy of Team Surplus, because I almost missed the boat on these. But my wife knew I wanted one, and she decided to surprise me, because I married an incredible woman. And this is just how it comes. Technically this box was open first, but they had to inspect it, and then I had to inspect their inspection. So, but yeah, this is how it came, just in bubble wrap, which I think is fine because these rifles are pretty darn durable. Let's get this nonsense out of the way and take a look at this. Yeah, stock is in pretty good condition. You can definitely tell where the duller here, we would be gripping it, and the stock where it's been banged up a little, and apparently in competitions it just shoved these out into the snow quite a bit. But yeah, this thing is in real nice condition. The sling swivels are on the side so it can be put across your back, better for skiing. Does actually make me think of the Finish M39 a bit, with the very nice barrel bands here. And then of course we have the little Swiss cross right there. But here's the defining feature of it, is this lovely straight pull bolt. In order to do that correctly, I gotta spin it around. So, grab that, and just nice straight pull backwards, and then push the follower down there, push it forward, and then you can go bang, and then you grab it again, nice and easy pull, push forward. Yeah, it's the magazine, but you're actually supposed to feed it strip clips. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get one of those, because apparently the originals were cardboard or leather and did not hold up all that well. But K31, the successor to the Schmidt-Rubin rifle, which you can still get. This was $600 and change with shipping and everything. Schmidt-Rubins, I've seen those around. Those are like $400 to $500 depending on quality. I know some of the ones that were coming in of these beforehand, stocks were in absolutely perfect shape. This one is clearly, you know, a little rougher, but yeah. Thanks for some nice rapid work. Then you get your import marks, which are very nicely done. And you have the bolt, the receiver, and then the mag here. All have the same serial number, which isn't too surprising because these never actually went to war. Except maybe in private hands, but that's what you get with the Swiss. They have been famously neutral for a long time, but if you trace their history back, they were very good at war for a while. I can always talk to my brother about the Swiss pikeman. and why they were fucking terrifying. So yeah, just a quick look at that. The bore, from what I could see, was in real good shape. Though my flashlight that I had with me for checking that decided that it wanted to die, so it was only quick glimpses. But yeah. You always know when you have something good when the guys behind the counter at the gun store are oohing and awing and, you know, taking turns being the lucky one to help you. Because they wanted to take a look at it. I mean, not that these are insanely rare, but yeah, enough people know what they are. So, one of the guys who was checking over the paperwork, he had no idea what ammo it was. The 7.75 Swiss. Yeah, 7.5 by 55 Swiss. He had no idea what ammo that was. They didn't carry it there. Not too surprising, because this is, yeah, but I know you can find it out there. The no, okay. Still not quite sure what the point of that is, but I mean, you do have a lot of take up with the trigger, but then it was banging pretty nicely, and then the safety should be this big old pull ring. Yeah. And that would be kind of a pain. Yeah. But, yeah, it's no way to mess up whether or not you fired it. And it would be workable with gloves. I hope you saw that. It's, you have to grab this ring here, pull it back, and then rotate it 90 degrees so this little key fits in. And then you're good, dead trigger. And you gotta do that, pull it back, and if you pull it back, pull your trigger, and then you can do a softer release. Okay, you can see that. So you got it like that. Okay, that's better. So, you grab the ring, you pull all the way back till it stops, you rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, and then you can see that little keyhole goes in, and that settles. Now you have a dead trigger. Pull that back out, rotate it back down, it goes into place. You have a live trigger, but if you pull this back, you can depress your trigger, gently release that forward, and it's safe. So these have a 6-round mag, which I think is 5 in the actual magazine, 1 in the chamber. But yeah. And I gotta get out there and shoot it. It's very light. I've been handling my Mosins a lot lately, so this is very handy and refined feeling. And then this part, where the little tang there goes into the grip, makes me kind of think of my Arasaka. And of course, this is a bit chunkier. But, and while I don't expect to find anything, I am going to look, because apparently a lot of the original owner's paperwork with these guys can be stored in the stock here. So let's take a look. So that was going to be a much, much longer screw. Oh, we found something. Cockhands. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Luzern. Well, that's awesome. I did not expect to find anything in there. Oh, there you go. Now you can actually read it. Huh. Anyone know Swiss? That's cool. I have to make sure that stays in there. So, I might do something to fix up the butt of this a bit, but I'm gonna clean the thing first, just with a little Murphy's, get the grease and whatnot off. That's gentle enough, it's not going to screw anything up. And then I have to start the hunt for ammo. But if I can find a finished bayonet for an M39, I can find ammo for a K31. Alright, well that was really cool. It's, yeah, the Swiss, they have conscription, but they also let the guys own the guns that they use. They just bring them on home, and they don't have the whole gun problem that we have. Well, I should say the violence problem we have, not the gun problem. It's not the guns, it's the people who are using them. You know, it's a lot of people who probably shouldn't have the guns. Also, bring that up nice and close. These screws, the screw heads, they're immaculate. And then, like the butt screws have a little ding into them, but I mean, you'd kind of expect that because gotta get smacked around. But like these here, they look factory fresh pretty much, which is awesome because a lot of times those get screwed up. Like some of my guns, it looks like somebody's been chewing on them. Some of the other ones I've seen out there look a whole lot worse. But yeah, I heard with the got a little parallel grooves. I wonder if Baby Wolverine attacked. But I do remember trying to puzzle out how these work with a straight pull, because I was like, well, why doesn't the recoil just send this whole thing back? And it's, so you pull back on the little knob here, and then this part slides. It's not just one solid piece of metal like your average bolt. And then it looks like this, you can tell from the numbers there, rotates, and then that releases it. And you got these big old lugs that lock into place. So, very well engineered, which is exactly what you would expect from the Swiss. So I'm used to something, as are most people, like this 1917 Enfield bolt with the grip or handle or lever or whatever you call it is solidly affixed as one big piece of metal on part of that. And I know it's not all one giant hunk of metal, but you get what I mean. Like the main body of it and the arm are one thing, whereas with the Swiss, I gotta get this back together. There's a Swiss here. This slides, and you see the little arm there, and yeah, gotta tell you, this thing is wonderfully smooth. I don't even know if there's any grease on it, because I haven't done anything with it yet. Obviously, you saw me take it out of the box, and I only got it home earlier. Technically yesterday, because I'm filming this past midnight. But yeah, Swiss K31. There's still some out there. Amster Plus currently has it. Well, that's fun. The front sight, there's this little track on there. Hope you can see that better. It's Get the little notch to let you know where it's lined up. I do know with these that for 1 to 200 yards you aim basically dead center on the target, and after that you aim a little bit below it, meaning that, you know, pretending this is a front sight post, if you wanted to shoot my thumb at shorter ranges, you would arrange for this front sight post to be like that, so it's like in the middle of your target. Whereas after that, when you're getting to the 200-yard marker, so you start aiming with it more right below your target, so you can fully see it. Gonna have to try that out. Swiss ammo is apparently about on par with 308, so it'll be interesting. Take this out with you know, an 8mm Mauser, maybe an M1. Compare how things shoot. Yeah. Though with how handy these things are, and I imagine the Schmidt-Rubin that preceded them, it had a very similar action to it. I can understand why when Kaiser Wilhelm threatened to invade Switzerland with an army of 500,000 men, and he asked what the Swiss leader would, his response would be, or his men would do, because the Swiss army was only about 250,000 men, the response was, well, our men will shoot twice and then go home. Because unlike the German conscripts, the Swiss were, like, they shot a lot. They're very good at it. And yeah, I could see how they would make a mess out of some Germans. So thankfully they never invaded. So Switzerland gets to live in peace. Because, you know, somebody's got to be neutral. But I'm not neutral about this rifle. I'm very excited to shoot it. And as soon as I can, I'll put up a video on it. Bye.